I hear some fireworks off in the distance.
Cool.
From the Mexican neighborhoods.
That's great.
Hello, friends y bienvenidos, amigos y amigas who are celebrating the victory of Los Dodgers in El World Series. I hope you enjoy my clever title, Snell no smell, but Urias less spurious. Why? Because, of course, they should never have pulled Snell. Crazy decision by the Rays there. What were they thinking? Why would that manager pull Snell after he gives up that one hit is beyond me. Let me tell you, but I was glad when they pulled his ass, and the Dodgers have officially won the World Series. Congratulations.
I'm so excited, and your mom, too. Like, I have special FI towards it.
Yeah. I'll have to go visit her and explain to her that the Dodgers have won the World Series.
Yes.
So, for any baseball fans joining us here tonight to celebrate the Dodgers' victory, you're in the right place. And I want you to know that it is, in fact, true what Tupac famously says. California knows how to party. We do. And I think alt sums up the message that all of us are feeling right now. I tell you what, if that guy just hit the ball harder, they would have won. That's good insight there, alt. That is some powerful insight. Good game, good series. You know, entertaining 6-game series, I got to say. Well, with the Dodgers debacle that ended game 5, was it?
Yeah, it was karma coming back.
Okay. So, we don't just have to talk baseball, of course, if you want to discuss some other matter.
I just made that.
Fantastico.
Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie Forgiato. I agree. They've choked so many times in recent years. They totally deserve this. It's like the Buffalo Bills if they finally win. You know?
Yes, they have gone very far. I'm so excited. You have no idea. This is like for me to be in LA with the Dodgers winning.
We went to a Dodger game last year.
Yeah, we did.
Dodger playoff game.
Yep. And the Dodgers are originally a team from New York, too, which is, like, so cool.
Yeah, I guess it's LA's year. And from El Monte, Baldwin Park down there, the Mexican neighborhoods, we can hear fireworks going off right now. I have in the past. But the thing is, if you're asking me, basically, Danny C says, do you ever do or have you ever done typing videos where you just have a conversation with the client about something other than typology? Yes, I've done life coaching videos, but typically those don't get published. I mean, they're typically, I don't even record. I mean, I ask the person if they want me to record it or not, you know. But then I usually just share it with them privately. Oh, thanks, Octavia Silva. Yeah, Curious Cairo. You're in a more Mexican-y neighborhood. You're in Azusa, so you probably even hear them louder than us.
I'm so excited.
It's pretty exciting because it's very SI for me. I remember the 88 World Series. I was 17 years old, you know. And that's how rare this experience is, getting to see the Dodgers win the World Series. It's been 32 years.
I have to ask you. So you were saying if the LA Dodgers win, I think it really marks a chapter in my life, like a new chapter in my life.
Well, I was mentioning that there are things that tend to correlate with chapter changes in my life. One of them is getting sick, which I am right now. I'm sick. I've got a cold. Another, like, for example, coming back from Hawaii,
Yeah.
I was sick, and then we entered into this new chapter of you in New York and me over here for a stretch of time. The other thing that tends to correlate with chapter changes in my life is weather, big weather events, storms and stuff, and other kind of big events. So, like, the Dodgers win the World Series is something that my magical thinking part of me says, okay, this is relevant omen-wise.
I'm going to talk with my grandma about it. She's been keeping up. My grandma McCurgan, she's been keeping up with the World Series just because she knows she has a granddaughter in LA. Isn't that cute?
That's cool.
Yeah.
The legendary 5-hour Mad Eric leaving Hawaii can't sleep stream. It makes me want to check it out. It does. What was I mad about? I have no idea. I must have been mad about something. Heads were busted. Huh.
Wait, what happened?
Mad Eric leaving Hawaii. Cloud took quite the beatdown. Oh, is that what happened?
Oh. That's funny.
That is awesome that you remember that, Freddie Fortunato.
Yeah, that really is.
That's fantastic that there's like this this history that some people know. And everybody's history is different, right? Like, depending on which dreams you participated in, which dreams are memorable. And then when you consider me as somebody who's been in all of them, I only remember. I don't really remember many streams that distinctly from each other, I guess.
The LA won in basketball and in baseball.
Yep. Not only is the Rams won the Super Bowl. Could you sit here for a second while I make a new pot of coffee?
Absolutely. Hi, guys.
Well, kind of he's got the same spirit as Milo, I guess.
Hey, Curious Kyra. I'm like stoked that the Dodgers have won. I've been rooting for them. California knows how to party.
But how great is my title for this live stream? Snell, no smell, but Urias, less spurious. Wow, I could really be a title writer for a newspaper.
Eric, is your memory categorical, sorting years into groups based on various criteria?
I would say no. It's more like a collection of stories. And then sometimes, some weird thing will cause an association to bring up something that I haven't thought about in a long time. But it's mostly like a collection of stories about my past that have with them some visual images, I guess, that they're memory parts, kind of.
I have a lot of visual memories.
Yeah, I'm not really good with the visuals stuff in general. It's like I got two eyes, but they're both kind of shitty, even though I see just fine.
You know what? He also has two butt cheeks, and they're very, very cheekable. What's a newspaper, Justin Salisbury?
I know I want to be. I want to go into the newspaper business.
I think I do try. I actually do link my memories back to like a year in time. I can do that. I can picture a scene in my mind, a memory, and it takes me back to that year. If that's what you are you asking about, Octavia Silva.
Adrian McDonald thinks Urias is an ISFP. Interesting.
See, I think that Snell, the one that they took out for Tampa Bay, I think he's an ISFP actually.
You can see that Snell was not happy.
Oh, I don't blame him.
No.
Oh, I wonder if there's going to be a firing. Oh, you're so warm and cold.
Well, Puppy, it is interesting what you said there. That ISFP said he lives under a certain type. Do you think that is due to a combination of fire and NI or just their thought NI? I think it's FINI because I think TINI, the TI ends up conflicting with NI a lot more than FI conflicts with NI. So, NI is holistic truths that aren't necessarily reducible. And TI wants truths to be reducible. So the ISTP, I think, likes NI, but it deals with it more on the map level, whereas ISFP likes NI, deals with it more on the territory level. And as a consequence, I think that that means that ISFPs are more likely to want a frame to help them to define their experience, whereas I want to define my frame and have my experience follow it.
I do relate to that in a way. Like I can think back to, but for me, it's more like moments in my life. Like I can link back to like sweet 16s that I had a really good time and being 16 and like having to get dressed up for them, and that being around the year 2000, 2001. I don't really like TV shows. Don't really like hit me so hard. One that did was Attack on Titan. Actually, was a show that hit me hard. But I watched that like early on Netflix, and it took me a while to get back into it. I just got back into it with Eric. But yeah, a lot of the timeline stuff is linked back to like personal memories.
I will say this, Octavia Silva, I do tend to, when I block my life off, I tend to block it as childhood, adolescence, and then as I get into late adolescence in terms of my relationships. When I was with my first girlfriend, then when I was single, then when I was with my first wife, then when I was single, then when I was with my second wife, then when I was single, and then when I was with that INFP weird thing that I had going on, then when I was single, then when I was with Kimberly, then when I was with Rachel, because there was basically no time in between.
There really wasn't.
So that's how I block off my life mostly. I also will sometimes block it off as to where I lived. There's when I lived here, when I lived in Santa Cruz, when I lived in Eagle Rock, when I lived in Temple City. That's the biggest time period I've lived any place, including here at my childhood home. So I lived in Temple City for 20 years, and I rented the same house in Temple City for 20 years.
Wow.
Then when I lived in Laverne, and then when I lived back in Arcadia. So I also block it off like that. So I do have ways of blocking off my time, but I don't. By and large, if you ask me a given year, I would say, oh, well, that was in that time period when it would go the other way around probably in what you're saying is I would, if you gave me an event, I would probably put it in one of those time blocks, but I wouldn't be able to determine.
Is it the kitty?
I wouldn't necessarily be able to determine a time block to be Like,
She's
if you give me, what's that?
Did she get freaked out by fireworks?
Yeah, she might. Ethan McDonald, it wouldn't surprise me if there's plenty of SFPs on professional sports teams.
So exciting! I'm still buzzing.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. You know, it makes it more exciting when it's the first one in a long time.
Yeah, it does.
And this definitely is the first one in a long time.
Oh wow! They're still celebrating. How cool! Aww.
That was Clayton Kershaw's baby.
Girlfriends.
Or wives.
Or wives.
You think LeBron is ESXJ? You know, I was thinking ESFJ for LeBron, Freddie Forgiato. But I don't know. That's sort of based on his performance in Trainwreck.
Yeah.
You mean Justin Turner's an ISFJ? Okay, well, I don't know what makes you type all these baseball players.
Yeah,
it's hard to type baseball players because, you know, every time they do any interview or anything, they always are saying this sort of pre-scripted, well, we just got to play for the team and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
LeBron does seem like a nice guy.
He does seem like a nice guy. He's pretty funny, too.
So, you know, I put this title up and thinking, well, you know, maybe since it's so topical to the moment, maybe I'll get random Dodger fans to come join the stream and talk Dodgers baseball here. But it doesn't appear to be working as a strategy. Danny C says, I relate to Eric's memory process a lot. Memories are blocks of general information for me. I unconsciously access specific memories and can do so if I try hard while recounting. Yeah, I can purposely try to remember something, but it's often in vain. Hi, Bargret Fargret.
Hey, Bargret Fargret. You know, I really want to get into my 7 energy and take a long rip. I really want to do it for the Dodgers.
Yes. Green for blue. Today we are celebrating Dodger blue by smoking some Zuki's green.
It's not your dog.
You think your dog's ISFJ? I think Lacey was an ISFJ.
Yeah, she was.
She was my duel.
Aww. That's nice to have a duel as your dog.
Dog is fine. Yeah, dog duel is fine. Dog duel works. You know, I was saying before to Rachel, one way I can tell that INFJ is the right type for me instead of ISFJ is look at my live stream. INFJs like me, ISFJs don't in general. There are a couple of ISFJs around here, not very many. I think Morridge is one.
Others.
How do you determine those things in an animal? I mean, I don't know. I feel as though I can type my cat as well. My cat's an ISFP. My dog was an ISFJ.
She's totally an ISFP.
Like, you know, my cat could have been the kind of dog that goes up to everybody and sniffs them. Hi, hey, here I am.
No.
Instead, my dog was a one guy dog, you know. She loved me and a couple family members, and anybody else would come around. She was very suspicious at first. But then she'd try her FE and go up there and, you know, she was definitely an ISFJ.
And it sounds like Delilah's cat is ISFJ also.
The targets, Curious Kyra. I see.
The pursuers.
Yeah, no, okay, the Dodgers, the throwers, right?
Yeah.
The hurlers.
Hurlers.
The shooters.
They'll throw them at you.
What about you, Emailed Anthrax? Aren't you an INFJ? Well, put it this way. I see a lot fewer people who self-identify as ISFJ around here than people
Yeah.
who self-identify as INFJ.
The only one that I can think of, actually, two. Levi Samuels, who's a dude, and
And more.
April.
April.
Yeah, Zaylen Black.
Oh yeah, well I think she's ISTJ maybe. I don't know about her. She's weird. It's hard for me to type her.
She doesn't come.
Legend Fall, I like your hilarious statement there. All dogs are ESFPs except Chihuahuas. My dog was half Chihuahua. My dog was a half Chihuahua, half Corgi, and she was a life hero for me. You know, life is not as long as people think it is, and you have the sink. I call it the sink. It's like before the Salton Sea became the Salton Sea, it was the Salton Sink, which is to say it was a lake bed, but it was desert. And so the opposite of a lake is a sink. It's a sink. It's a area of land that forms a lake bed, but that's completely dried out. Yeah, the Salton Sink. In fact, one of my few very particular policy objectives that I'd like to implement. What's the opposite of the Clippers? The submarines? The airplanes? I don't know. That's the opposite of your mom's face, Emo Anthrax. The opposite of your mom's face is a vacuum in space. Your mom's face is always cleaning up space with her giant space vacuum. Oh, the opposite of scissors? Well, clippers are named after clipper ships. They're not named after scissors. But if they were named after scissors, then it would be glue, I guess. Octavio Silva. Yes, music elicits incredibly powerful emotional responses from me. Like, I don't know if I'd call it an emotional response even, but a very strong intuitive response to it that makes me, tear up or cry or feel a lot of emotion along with it. My mom is the machine that the Spaceballs used to drain Druidia. Huh. I don't remember Spaceballs that well to get the joke, unfortunately. I don't doubt that it's absolutely hilarious, though. I'm just making myself a new cup of coffee. Nobody panic, okay? Everybody stop panicking. I'm just making coffee. You're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine. Just wait. I'll be right back. Here I am. I mean, anything really good and effective in a given context or out of context even, depending. Like, most recently, it's been to that song. It's been, it's called Friday Night at Freddy's 2 is what it's actually called. But that song's just been enchanting me beyond anything I've heard in a long time. It's just like, oh my God, what is going on with this song? I mean, it has a powerful effect on me listening to it because it's like my body wants to move with it as it goes up and down and stuff. It's and it just enchants me. I don't know what else to say about it. I'll put the link for everybody to reference the song I'm talking about. Which I can only call totally enchanting. This song enchants the living hell out of me. If you like enchanting things, you'll love this song.
You're still live streaming?
I am still live streaming.
Yay!
I know, shame on me, right? For not remembering Spaceballs that well.
Why?
Because someone made a Spaceballs joke, but I didn't get it because I didn't remember. Email answers. My mom is the machine that the Spaceballs used to drain Druidia. Unfortunately, I don't remember Spaceballs well enough to get the joke.
I don't
Did
either.
I smoke your bowl? Or is that your bowl? Or?
I think it's mine.
Okay, cool. I was afraid I accidentally smoked your bowl.
Well, there's a good chance that you didn't.
Whiz sauce. I have a lot of skepticism towards this person coming in. I don't remember exactly why, but I think maybe they're a past troublemaker. I'm not sure though. Let's see. No, it's Friday night at Freddy's. It's called, I think. Oh no, it is 5 Nights at Freddy's. You're right. 5 nights, but not Friday night. My bad. That song is, my daughter just introduced it to me the other day, and maybe I'm thinking somebody else was, sorry. I had a tingle in my, I had a tingle on my troublemaker gland.
It happens, you know.
But sometimes it's wrong.
Yeah.
Focalin, never tried it.
My face exercises.
Oh, you're the ESTP I typed a while back. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen Whiz Sauce around.
What kinds of music? It really depends. It's all different kinds of music. It's the truth of it is, Octavia Silva, whatever I hear that's transcendently good, timelessly good, I immediately know, like, okay, hold on, I gotta listen to this some more, and then before long I'm quite confident about what it is. What that exactly is, sometimes it's quiet, intimate, emotional, FI kind of stuff. Sometimes it's not. You know, it's like,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know, there's this. There's a track of mine. I'll let you enjoy Rachel's coughing for a moment, but there's a track of mine called Interruption. It's the second night you start to feel strange, and you're wondering if the range is on. Sending sparks soar in the kitchen sky. In actual night, is there no top to the dark up above the shells? Anyway, I think this is a pretty, like, FI-ish kind of a song. She towards the child above the sleeping forms of vivid mind figurines of Western lonely types. They lie beneath a million running suns. They're rugged and they're done with the actual night. It's the second night. Me.
Wow.
When you start to feel
Really pretty.
Strange, and you're wondering if the range is on. Sending sparks soar in the kitchen sky. An actual night. Is there no? And then Liz comes in.
of the shells.
Yeah, this is me. It's recorded back like 2002.
The just
Dude, I'm so
above the
sorry.
sleep
It's been a while.
of vivid mind figures
I know,
lonely types. The lives
My wallet.
They're rugged and done with the actual love.
Beautiful.
If a week from now we're an open flower, and tomorrow afternoon I'll be
Well, thanks, Octavia Silva.
never
I like this song too.
form democracy. That time before we attempted something together's gone unremembered. You complained, but I explained, darling baby, that was way back in December.
Ayahuasca music. This? What
Why
is
do you
ayahuasca
try
music?
to overwhelm me?
It's hard for me to understand.
I didn't ask for any of these occasions. Or so, and a week from now we're a sea. Such persuasion
I like
happened in the interim, but nature needs possibility.
I like this
A
video
week
too.
ago, we're a bee for so, and a week from now we're the sea.
Oh, not this one. I like the other video.
Will have happened in
This isn't song to be
the interim. I didn't ask for any of these occasions.
I like it too.
Oh, no. This is very interesting. This liked videos. Like,
You've never seen yours before?
I mean, I haven't looked at this before, I don't think. That's weird. See all these old things from a long time ago that I liked. Like, why does it only have numbers 1007 through? I think you can only have maybe a certain number of meows per meow. Host Eric throws a tantrum. What video is this?
Hi, friends. I'm Eric here. I was talking with famous
It's
people.
unlisted.
And man who finds himself in a bit of a conundrum. And who's been doing a bit of soul searching.
What am I upset about?
So I want to talk
Oh, you are
to you again
upset.
this morning. Of human mating rituals.
Human
I'm not
mate-
going to waste any more of my goddamn time.
Oops. I'm upset at some mating ritual problem.
Oh.
I scare tantrum. Anyway, any more of my goddamn time?
It gives me a vibe for you.
It's I don't know what I'm throwing tantrum about.
I'm thinking about pussy. No more pointless use of time. It's a fucking waste of time. How much time do I spend trying to finagle some chick into getting into bed with me? And then for what? Sleep with her and then try to finagle her again. It's like doing the laundry. It's like doing the dishes. It's the worst fucking thing.
Sentiments still stay
I see why that's unlisted. I'm complaining about how much effort it requires to get pussy, basically. And how it shouldn't be like doing the dishes. I don't like things that you like. I want, once I do the job, for it to stay done forever. You know, I don't want to have to go do the dishes again tomorrow. You know, that's why I like being in relationships. Being single makes sex like doing the dishes. Once you get it done, it only stays done for like a few days. Then you want to have to do the dishes again, but you gotta have to go chase down another chick. You know, that's why it's much better to be in a relationship. I am not left wanting.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I'm never left
so
wanting.
Happy.
Rachel's.
Thank you, my
She does
love.
a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Of tending to
I
the
do.
man parts.
I do really feel it's important.
It is important.
Yeah.
RC, good thinking. That is good thinking on the bed, okay? Chase down another chick is too much work. Right.
Thing.
Chasing down chicks is so much work, and that's what made me so mad in that video.
You know, the whole dating game is so difficult. Because a lot of guys don't like women going up to them. Although they say all the time, what would I like? A female to come up and talk to me. But a lot of them don't. Unless they're really drunk. In that case, you're probably really drunk too. And then it just...
Hi, you're a kid.
Oh my god, I really like your shirt. Your boobs are really big. I'm single. Let's get it on. Like, that's it. That's literally what happens at bars. Yeah, everyone has their, you're right. Everyone does have their contradictions. It's a weird, dating is I didn't enjoy it either, to be totally honest, you know. I had like 10 years of dating that was just like, figuring out what I don't like. Yeah, definitely. 10 years of figuring out what I didn't want in a relationship for sure. I love your videos. They're like my favorite. I watched all of them, the 1 through 10. Yeah, I'm like, you know, I saw the ones on the SI and the TE. It's like, I feel like I'm taking a test and I really like school. I love learning.
Who doesn't love learning?
Hey, what's up, CJ O'Connell?
Life is a learner's paradise.
That's what my mama always said. My mom always said that, like, if you learn a lot, then your brain gets bigger, and maybe sometimes then a boy will like your big brains.
Your mom's lying to you.
Oh my gosh! All I can think about is that I want my teeth compared to my white shirt.
Boys like bubes.
Yes, boys do like pubes, and some girls.
Especially when it's spelled B-E-W-B-S.
Bubes is the way that it should be spelled.
I agree.
Like for reals, girlfriend, whatever, as if. I really do like the term as if. You don't hear it that much anymore.
What are you
As
talking
if
about?
I would date you. Ew. I want to go to the other guy who has his popped collar. Duh. I mean, so he has a yacht.
You don't even have a dinghy. What do you mean? A small rivet is called a dinghy.
I'm not. I say it. I know my boats. Okay. Yeah, you really don't hear it as if, but it's one of my favorite. Like, whatever you hear a lot, like, whatever has had different influx in the way it's said too. It's like, it used to be whatever, but now it's like whatever, like jerk.
I want the grenade to be disguised as an olive and have it set off by chew. I'll have the explosion be small enough, it's more like Pop Rocks. Talking about their grenade in the drink idea.
Oh. Are you eating a Jolly Rancher?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, what flavor?
Apple.
Ooh, I smell it. It reminds me of Halloween.
So anyway, this is how I resolved the anger I expressed in that earlier video that I played a little bit of. What I did is I found my ideal woman, and her name was Rachel Apollosa. She liked my videos and watched them before she knew me. So
Yes.
it's a good sign that she's probably going to like hanging out with me. Because why? I act the same way, pretty much, when I'm not on camera as when I am on camera. Rachel, do you have any job interview tips?
I do. Ask questions at the end. Do a little research on the company, just so that you have an idea. You don't want to like go full blown. You want to have an idea of like who's important and who's not important. It's that kind of like overarching goal of the company, and then just really honestly be yourself.
Or here's another alternate piece of advice. Before I go to a job interview, what I always do is I always get myself in the mindset of Bette Midler. I'm Bette Midler. I'm walking into a job interview. I'm Bette Midler. Okay.
And that's a good one to.
So when I go into a job
spirit
interview,
animal.
I walk in there. I'm just like, "Hello, it's me. I'm here."
That's even better.
They love it. They eat it up. And you know what happens every job interview I go into when I do that? Go, baby, you've got it. You got what we're looking for. You got that thing. That's the way to do it, Octavia Silva.
Yeah. But seriously, like the biggest thing that I learned, the thing that like won over a lot of managers was that I asked questions at the end. Because if you don't go in with questions, it doesn't seem like you're really interested or listening. So if you ask questions at the end, it shows that you're interested and listening. So that's my...
The last thing you say before you leave the room should be, I'm not threatening you, but if you don't hire me, you're going to regret it. That usually works.
That sounds like my stalker. I'm not threatening you.
But if you don't hire me, you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your weakness?
Oh, yeah.
Being
Oh
so
my
much
gosh.
stronger than all the other candidates. This question,
I'm trying to think of...
given the complete lack of
what kind of
deficits
answers to
that I have, this
this?
question is always a stumbling block. That you say that's your biggest weakness is answering this question. I don't know. I'm the shit. What can I tell you?
there's some like company with someone out there who has someone who comes in, says that sort of thing. It's like, that kid's got moxie. And then they get the job.
Strength, moxie, pluck. Weaknesses,
no job experience.
yeah. Green around the gills, green. Spring chicken or some other term like that.
Yeah. Another good one is always keep your resume to one page. My dad used to, he was a manager for an accountant's office for like years, and his advice was always to keep it bare minimum, and like if you have to go onto 2 pages, okay, but like don't make it like 2 full pages.
Look,
the first one.
Go in there and at some point during the interview you should say to him, listen, if I were a law office, it would be moxie, pluck, and gumption.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically you just want to be Katharine Hepburn.
If I were a law office, it would be the law firm of moxie, pluck, and gumption. That's what I'm bringing to the table here. Moxie, I'm bringing my pluck, and I'm bringing my gumption. That's all you need.
You gotta be reminded of the olden times and their grandparents, and they will feel like this feeling of endearment towards you.
Don't be a stool pigeon. Don't be a stool pigeon. Okay. Hey. Don't be a stool pigeon. Don't be a stoolie. All right. Don't be a stoolie. I'm bringing moxie, pluck, and gumption to this party. Don't you be a stool pigeon on me now. Okay, you dirty rat. It'll be curtains for you, you dirty rats. So is that you're saying that any polar isn't a valid response to the greatest weakness question? I think any polar is a great response to the greatest weakness question, actually. I think your NI is kicking ass right there with that. I think that's exactly what you say. Well, I'm any polar. What that means is it's hard for me to come up with a lot of different new ideas on the spot. That's a weakness that you can easily advertise as a weakness, and most people won't give a fuck because they don't want you to ideate.
Yeah.
You know? That's smart. Really smart.
Actually, I said that I was TE polar on the interview, but not knowing it, I said that. Like, sometimes I have trouble prioritizing tasks.
Yeah, you can't brag about SE polar. Yeah, my problem is I don't do shit. I'll like mostly have just like leave my work unfinished.
Yeah.
Probably won't complete any of my work.
Yeah. I said that I have trouble prioritizing tasks, and they were like, "All right, that's fine. We can help you in that area." It's like, cool.
I tell you, I constantly get people's titles confused. So like, I'll go up to like, I don't know, my manager and call him Viceroy Smith, or then I'll go up to the secretary and call her Mr. Jenkins. Even though she's a lady, and I'm always getting those mixed up. I'm sorry, it may be a problem for you. I'm not really sure. Hi, Lord Smithingtons. What's the best polar to have? FI. Like, yeah, rock the FI polar.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, hey, that's a good idea what Email Anthrax says there. Octavia Silva, arrive with Chick-fil-A, okay? Arrive with Chick-fil-A.
Arrive with Chick-fil-A. Oh my god.
Bro, Chick-fil-A. Everybody likes Chick-fil-A.
That's what
Huh?
That's what
There you go,
Frank
buddy.
James says that an ESFJ would do on an interview.
You want Chick-fil-A? I got Chick-fil-A.
I got your Chick-fil-A.
Okay, we can go Popeye's chicken sandwich. Louisiana fresh. Popeye's is Louisiana fresh.
Oh yeah.
Now the thing is, you can't oppose Popeyes or else you're racist. Because Popeyes is the black fried chicken place.
You know what I noticed that the LA Dodgers winning has given you some pluck.
I feel a little bit of pluck, a little bit of moxie, a
Yeah.
little bit of gumption. I see it as a signal of good times ahead.
I
You know.
do too. I always knew how my years were gonna be, depending on if the Yankees won. So.
Well, you know, it makes me wonder, like this stream right here. Okay, so this stream's only gotten up to 12, 13, 14 people, the max. Is it because of the time? Is it because of the title? Is it because of closeness to when the last stream was over? I don't know. Did you get a notification?
Yeah, I got a notification.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's the title. Maybe people don't want to talk about baseball.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. It could be a weird time at night. It's 9, 10, 11,
I'm in a
12.
good mood. You know, the truth is, I'm just in a good mood right now. I feel as though I've gotten a lot of rest, and I feel. I don't think it was glowing, king. I think he's saying I'm glowing king, like I'm the king of glowing.
Can you would you be okay in explaining how you feel like you have different chapters in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that certain things persist over time for a stretch of time, and then some events will sort of, like, storylines will all coalesce into a certain point, and then new chapter. I mean, like, you can see the volatility during a chapter. Some chapters change more abruptly than others. So some chapters change over time. The chapter changing from ending the chapter of Kimberly also entails these other storylines of Spacey and Tori.
Yeah, that's right.
And all of that stuff all finally coalescing and collapsing into, okay, fine, new chapter. Now it's me and Rachel living here before Christmas.
Yeah.
So that was a rather tumultuous time in certain ways, you know.
It was.
Ending at Christmas, and her going back to New York. Then there's a period of time when between Christmas and the end of Hawaii, that's kind of a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the things that then there's a time period when after Hawaii, Rachel was in New York and I was here. That includes, it's like I kind of grouped the Hawaii trip with as its own little thing, right?
It was.
Because, you know, you were here for a couple of weeks, then you went back. But I think of sending you flowers on your birthday as being with this time period, even though Hawaii's between it. You see what I'm saying?
True.
Regardless, then there's a time period after she came back. And that there's a mini chapter before we got the right medication going. Mm. So that's 2 chapters right there. Then there's the chapter since then, which has been a long chapter. Since we got Rachel's medication straightened out until now is one long ass chapter. A longer chapter than most chapters in my life, I would say.
Mine too.
But I have a feeling that it's coming to an end. In part because, as somebody else noted the other day, tonight being an exception to this, views and and participants in the live streams have picked up. There's been a general increase in views, I think, and I think I'm beginning to I think it has to do sort of on a longer term way with the fact that YouTube's gradually taken me off of some sort of shadow probation thing. That's part of it. Although that was a while back, I think that I got off of that. But their YouTube's algorithm and YouTube's approach to things is evolving, and so their relationship with me is evolving.
Yeah.
I think when they first changed it's like they weren't quite sure what to do with this channel. It wouldn't surprise me if, despite the fact that I only have 6,000 subscribers, that there's a broader knowledge of this channel within YouTube, like workers, than would be otherwise the case. And the reason I think that is so is because this channel challenges their algorithm so much. I've had a lot of videos that they've flagged, I've appealed, and I've won all of my appeals. So that's why I think that does something smell bad?
Like vinegar or something. Maybe it was a skunk.
I don't smell it.
It's flip-flops. Maybe. I don't know.
I didn't fart or anything.
No, I don't think it's your fart. I think it was maybe a skunk.
Senpai would be an appropriate term.
So skunk.
Would be an appropriate. Your channel is extremely strange in the way it seems to be grouped with others. Like the videos that are always in the recommended are always wildly off topic. Huh. I mean, I think YouTube struggles to know what to do with me because, for example, I could title a live stream whatever. This live stream is about the Dodgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have barely talked about the Dodgers at all.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes with live streams. I don't know. I'm rolling with the chat. I'm running with the chatters, as Van Halen would say.
Yeah, you are. Oh gosh, look how handsome Host Eric is.
I call this hairdo the Doc Brown. What do you think? Do you like this hairdo? I've been using the comb inside the house.
Oh.
I've been using it to comb up all of my hair.
I love it, babe.
Okay, now I'm going to pull this bong rip. It's also good to deal with my beard, to make it as big as it can be. I need one of those kind of picks that people use to make their afro go out. I know, Catholic convert. Queen's Gambit is what you would call spiteful. He tries to do harm. Thanks, Chris Chapman. Love you too. So yeah, he as soon as I was done type policing him, I smell that vinegar smell too.
Yeah.
That is not a skunk though.
What is it? It's still that burning stuff? Something burning?
It's vinegar, but I don't smell it outside.
Could it be with whatever was cleaned with? The AC?
Could be. The AC guys can't clean the ACs. That's okay, Chris Chapman. I'm glad that you are so engaged with my video. Thank you. It totally smells like we're dyeing Easter eggs in here. What the hell?
No! The only thing that I can guess is that it's from the AC cleaning. I didn't spray anything.
I don't understand what I'm supposed to make of that Tumblr image. Oh. I don't think meth labs use vinegar. Do they? I mean, you know.
I like your answer. You're the best host on YouTube.
Thanks, darling. So why do ISFPs get me to type them? I don't know, but there are certain types that are more likely to get me to type them than others, right? Like I get a lot of ISFPs, I get a lot of INFJs, I get a lot of, well, not a lot of, but I periodically get ENTJs. I get INTPs sometimes. I get ISTPs. Both ISTPs and ISFPs are not uncommon for me to type, and they're both unipolar. So why would they choose me, given the fact that they're both unipolar and only one of them even shares my second function? I don't know. I don't have a good explanation for that. Maybe Octavia Silva could explain it. What is it that makes ISFPs think that I'd be a good person to type on? Do you think, Octavia Silva? You think any polar is attracted to any? Or it could be NI third slot. You're seeking a singular truth, and you think I'm the best party to attain it by the any that you lack. Maybe, I don't know. Look, Curious Kyra, if they were making you act like a crate, you'd be holding stuff in your body. Right, that's a terrible inky pinky. No any tool user would come up with that. Would you come up with that, Chris Chapman? Is that what you'd come up with? Curious Kyra, is that what you'd come up with? That the best you could do? Curious Kyra is an INFP. You tell me that guy's expert intuition was anything like hers?
I
Great.
can't pee. Oh, she was behind the couch the whole time.
I've got to figure out where that vinegar smell is coming from. It's not coming up from back here.
Smell it. Hello, cutie pageant winner. Mommy loves you so much, and so does Daddy.
I guess we're not going to go to the bong store tonight, huh?
I thought we decided not to.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
I thought we had decided to, then I started live streaming.
basically.
Okay, so we never
we
really.
Did have a discussion.
We did have a discussion?
No, we had a discussion that we'll do this instead, and we'll go tomorrow.
All right, cool. Says Chris Chapman. Says Chris Chapman begrudgingly. Hey. I thought I had made a rule around here that nobody was allowed to do anything in a begrudging-like fashion. It means you fold yourself up into a square, and then you have somebody put something on the part of you that's at the bottom of the square.
Oh.
That's what it means to act like a crate.
I didn't know.
No! Anthrax! You can reject that rule, but you can't do it begrudgingly. God.
What is he thinking?
He's just breaking the rules left and right. You're a rebel, sir. You are a rebel, emailed Anthrax, constantly rebelling against my rules. Are there levels of any polar? Do some ISXPs have better any than others? Not really. I mean, I think, we'll put it this way. I've noticed possibly that ISFPs have an easier time asking questions to ask like this. If I were to ask, give me many reasons why Joe might want to join the Army. ISFPs are better at that than ISTPs because you're asking them to come up with FI possibilities. And so I've avoided those kind of questions since I determined that. So can you come up with, how many reasons can you come up with invading Canada is the default one of those. My connection is unstable. Oh no. Ay, caliente. My connection was unstable. Has it stabilized? I hope so. Okay, thank God. Anyway, what I'm saying is something very important. Oh yeah, that you can't trust questions asked them to come up with lots of different reasons why somebody would want to do something, because ISFPs can do that more than other kind of any polar questions. That's my point. I remember it now. I had a point. I knew I did. Now I remembered it and said what it was, so you can know it now too. It was just a repeat of a point I had already made, but regardless, that summation was important. You think the best any polar test is the 4 lines of a poem one? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, on the spot, I don't think that's going to play out too differently for between 4th and 7th on the spot. So, I think it's because it's ambitious enough that I think both 4th and 7th are going to fail at that about the same. Yeah, to make them up on the spot. Like, so CJ O'Connell in that one that in a typing that you can't see because I didn't record it because it was of Octavia Silva's friend. I asked him to come with a 4-line poem, and I demonstrated an example that was something along the lines of there was a herd of many hundred camels that loped along and went into the field. It wasn't long before a few were trampled, as many camels simply wouldn't yield. Okay, so there's an example of a 4-line poem. I made up a new one this time. Yeah, the product name test I think is a good one. The product name test I think is a very good any test. I think it's my most reliable any test. The one I made up for Octavia Silva's friend was about goats. What would an FI polar test look like? Okay, the only I've had a couple of good suggestions about FI questions. I don't know any of them that are necessarily well, Chris Chapman, that's just my cross to bear in life. I've got people who are absolutely convinced that I'm wrong. Do we know if the rat test actually tests NI? I don't know. I'm still jury's still out on that. Octavia Silva suggests have a mental breakdown in front of someone and see how they respond to it. Well, there's the question like, okay, you're at a party, you're having a good time, everyone's treating you nicely, but then somebody tells you, whispers in your ear, these people are all white supremacists here. They're all neo-Nazis. And, you look around and you start to notice, oh, yeah, a lot of them have, like, swastika tattoos on them in inconspicuous places and stuff. But, everyone's been cool with you. You've had a great time. You're continuing to enjoy yourself here at this party. Do you stay or do you go with this piece of knowledge? So that's one thing that's been suggested as an FI question. I don't know if it's reliable or not. Another one that's been suggested as an FI question is the pill question. If you have the choice to get a pill, you've been kidnapped by a psychopathic criminal, like serial killer type person, and he's tied you up, and he's put you in front of a table with two pills, and one pill you take it, you feel extreme terror. The other pill, you take it, you feel extreme sadness. And it's going to last. The effects of the pill last for 12 hours. So which pill do you take? Okay, so this has also been suggested as an FI test. I think it's more of an NI test, frankly, because there's a best answer to it. Wait, Octavia Silva says obviously take the sadness pill? Why would you say that? Why is that obvious and why the sadness one? I'm curious. So there is a best answer. As someone who lives with anxiety and depression, the obvious choice is sadness. The terror pill will affect your adrenaline. Yes, RC asks. Right. Legends Fall says, I've heard you talk about this one before. You're already scared, so take the fear pill. You're already as scared as you can possibly be, being kidnapped by a serial killer and tied up. And then forced to take one of the pills, so you might as well take the fear pill, right? So in that regard, it seems like an NI question because there's such a best answer that doesn't take you think you'd chill out after a second? Oh, so you think you wouldn't be that scared? You're like, yeah, kidnapped, serial killer. It happens, a regular Tuesday. Upton Plate says, Eric, didn't you type a guy who did badly on the TI test and your lady friend asked that pill question and you answered INTP as folks who went and typed the INTP? It doesn't sound like me. I mean, I'm pretty hesitant to type somebody INTP. But it's possible. I don't know. I don't remember all the things I've done. All right, so if you're already 9 out of 10 scared and it makes you 18 out of 10 scared, you can't be 18 out of 10 scared. You can only be 9.5 out of 10 scared, Legends Fall. You can't go over 10. That's not fair. It's possible. I mean, look, there are instances where I make mistakes and Upton plates. If in fact I did that, that was an instance of me making a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why I would have. I'm not perfect. Oh, you're gonna edit it? All right, Octavia Silva. I'll do one like tomorrow then. I mean, I don't know which one I would take, really. I know how sadness makes me not want to do anything. So, but I also know how fear or too much adrenaline can make me ineffective as well. So I don't know. Would I type your grandpa as INTJ? I don't know who your grandpa is. Sounds like an INFJ, RC. RC says, Terror Pill, I need the extra adrenaline to fight. Otherwise, my FE will just make me keep apologizing for stuff. Are you an INFJ by any chance, RC? That's about as INFJ a statement as I've ever heard. Well, I mean, Jeff Shaw, you also have to factor in the context, right? I typed you as INFJ? Oh, okay. You also have to factor in the context. So you're not in a normal situation. You're being held back. You're being held captive by a bad guy, right? So, I think you have to take into account the fact that it's a circumstance that requires you to take action. You might still be right that it's going to be individuated on that ground. Kit Gann, the pill choices are a pill that makes you feel like maximal sadness or maximal fear, and the feeling lasts for 12 hours. Sorry for not being a better kidnapping victim. Now, Catholic Convert points out that it's possible you could take the sadness pill as a antidote to your fear. Does sadness wash out fear is then the question. Oh, did I get blood on you? I hope that's not dry clean only. Fear makes you freeze. Sadness doesn't. Historically, I've tended to perform pretty well in circumstances where I was afraid, genuinely afraid. Like when I got pulled over with drugs on me and got arrested in Oklahoma. I actually was remarkably effective in throughout the whole thing in my dealings with everybody, making good and often difficult and bold choices during the circumstances, despite the fact that I was obviously, I don't know, I was genuinely terrified for a minute in the back seat of the cop car. I even felt like I was going to wet my pants. And then I was just like, get it together or get your freaking head out of your ass. And from that point forward to the end of it, I was on point. I don't know. So fear actually probably makes me a lot more effective than sadness, for sure. When it comes to sadness, when I am sad, but it's probably because reality allows me to be this way. But when I am sad, I'm likely to go lie down, maybe watch a familiar show, take a bath, something like that. So, I mean, I don't know how I would act in that circumstance if I were really sad. Yeah, well, 12 hours of you're right about that, Octavia Silva. You might want to not have to experience maximal terror for 12 hours. Maximal sadness for 12 hours is quite a long time of sadness, too, though. I mean, that's going to get you in a swamp, right? Let's make it 1 hour. Let's make it 1 hour. You could live for an hour maximal terror, I guess. I don't think the environment necessarily injects sadness into you. I don't think I'd necessarily be sad in that circumstance. I think I'd necessarily be scared. But I'm going to dispute what Jeff Shaw here says, that the environment injects inherently terror and sadness. I don't think you're necessarily sad about being kidnapped. You're just scared, right? I'm not sad until I know I've lost something. Any does your three main elements for a short story and asking to tell a story based on those things. Like courage, a 6-year-old boy with the power to turn plants into different colors, and a lovable dog companion. Like, is that the three elements like that? Like, okay. Ujwal Mishra, you and I are going to have some conflict here, okay? Right away, I can tell you're rolling in here with the wrong attitude. First of all, this bong is clean by my standards. By my standards, this is clean. All right? This is as clean as a bong ever needs to be. You have lost control of the situation. Who has lost control of what situation? Am I more ideational on weed? No. It doesn't really have any impact on me. I'm the same either way. Yes, the dark water does give a personality and flavor. Look, why let all the past flavor or previous bong rips go entirely to waste when you can re-experience it again for the first time by letting your bong water age? Let it age gracefully. Let your bong water age gracefully. What are the merits of taking both pills? Well, the only merit that's possibly there is if, of course, they cancel each other out. If they cancel each other out, then there's definitely a merit to taking them both. Yes, it's well seasoned, it's aged. Look, it's what you'd call dry aged. Okay, this is dry aged bong water. The water's wet, but the aging's dry. Okay, remember that. You throw up if you take breath? Oh. Now, here's a way to solve this problem by thinking out of the box, okay? What you're going to want to do is, regardless of which pill you take, let's do the opposite. I was going to say drink a bunch of grapefruit juice first, because that'll have a weird drug interaction with it. But really, typically, the interaction in grapefruit juice with your drugs is it makes your body absorb more of them than it otherwise would. In other words, you know how the reason grapefruit juice interacts with drugs the way that it does? It's because there's this thing in your stomach normally, that some kind of like enzyme or whatever, that kills off, or that renders inactive most of the drugs that you consume. So if I take 15 milligrams of Adderall, like 7 milligrams of that are going to be destroyed by this enzyme. However, grapefruit juice kills that enzyme, and your body takes 24 hours to replenish it after you drink a bunch of grapefruit juice. The same thing would happen if you drank lime juice or lemon juice. But of course, nobody ever drinks that much lime or lemon juice. The only thing you drink enough of that kills your enzymes enough that it makes a big difference is grapefruit juice. So that's the thing about grapefruit juice, is that it gets rid of the enzyme that eats away much of the medication that you take. But the medication makers have taken this into account, the fact that your enzymes destroy half of their medication, right? So it's like you'll get more pop for your money, for your drugs, if you drink grapefruit juice before you take them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You are a licensed metaphysician.
I am a licensed metaphysician. That's right. So you don't want to drink grapefruit juice before taking your maximal terror or maximal sadness pill, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because they're already maximal. I don't know how you maximize them anymore. Do FI DOMs tend to know themselves better than other types? I would guess the answer is yes. I mean, I would say basically what you just said right there, Ethan. By definition, that's the case. It should be the case that people who are FI DOMs understand themselves better than other people do. I'd like to think I understand myself pretty well, but I have a fairly simple understanding of myself too. It's like I guess I would say it's not that I understand myself less well than an ISFP or an INFP. There's less of myself to understand is more accurate. Well, that's part of what I need to understand is that, yeah, I did marry someone I didn't even like. That's true. That's one of the problems with FI polar, okay? I think higher SI, more homesickness in general, probably. I don't remember really Rachel expressing a lot of homesickness. She's shaking her head right now.
I did a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, you're not particularly prone to homesickness. I think that's good.
Yeah. You've made it very comfortable for me. We just fit well. It's like so easy.
Why would I marry someone I didn't like? Well, because I wanted to have a child and I figured I'd fix her. That she just needed to understand that she needed to rely on introverted thinking. I didn't have any of these terms at the time, but I was just going to explain to her why she was wrong, what was wrong with her, and fix her. And then when I sort of determined I couldn't fix her, I just said, well, look, you just do your thing, I'll do my thing. Let's just not hang out with each other or anything, It's fine. I was all crazy. Like, I was so FI polar. I mean, look, the woman I married met my criteria for mother, which is to say she had wide childbearing hips, so she was likely to have an easy childbirth, and she was fairly attractive, not markedly unattractive. She was, fairly slender build, not large or skinny either, like in between kind of. And in fact, it worked out. She gave me a baby, and yeah, not all. Look, extroverted intuition is a talking function in the sense that it's the way of taking action on a metaphysical field. But if I'm asking a question, for example, that's not extroverted intuition. Okay, if I'm delivering to you a TI conclusion that I've deduced. So in other words, if you say, okay, well, tell me, is this valid or invalid? See, it's valid because meow, meow, meow. I'm not extrovertly intuiting. I'm explaining TI. Extroverted intuition is an action function on the field of that which is impactful metaphysically. It has to have novelty in it to some extent. It has to draw distinctions against and away from existing truths. So it's like there's an extroverted intuition going on right here because I'm explaining this in a way that I've never really explained it before, thought about it quite before. But divergence is key to something qualifying as extroverted intuition. It's a process of working off something that's defined, right? By saying meow, 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 you expand on sources of causation and not singularizing it. Well, it's like, look, you take one thing that's defined and you say, here's where something else differs from that. Here's how this object of analysis looks from a different perspective. Or here's what frame of reference this object of analysis implies, or that you can infer from it, you know. I don't think any polar makes it difficult for an ISXP to explain things if they understand it well, because then they're really using SI unless there's a demonstrative function. When doing shit, then they have to explain things. They have to have learned it, and if they know it, they can regurgitate it back. If they don't already know it, they're going to try to turn to their NI first to know it singularly. You know, I mean, that's what they're going to try to do first. But if that doesn't work, then they're going to return to what they've already learned about it and regurgitate that. If that doesn't work, they'll go to their fourth slot TE and try to figure it out on the fly. And that's going to give them some problems because they don't like having their fourth slot pushed on by other people like anybody doesn't. People don't like having 4 and 8 pushed on. Octavio Silva says, I would say 8th slot TI with 3rd slot NI makes it extremely difficult to put concepts that I understand into words. Huh, interesting. No, having ideas in your head that you just can't say is indicative of NI over NE. And the reason it's indicative of it is because it's true that holistic ideas often can't easily be expressed in words. Synergy, you can't explain easily enough what makes a car move. You can say the engine, right? Okay, well, what makes an engine make a car move? Well, it's a combination of a lot of different things. You know, it's like, well, it's really an engine is a combustion chamber that meows and meows and meows and meows. You got to do a whole shit ton of explanation to explain the synergistic whole that is of NI. No, indecisiveness, it doesn't apply towards the extroverted metaphysical plane. So what you might call indecisiveness in INFPs is not really indecisiveness. It's decisive indeterminacy. It's like, well, that depends. It's not, I can't decide. It's, I've decided that depends. And that's very different than being indecisive. Ooh, it's a tough call between meow and meow. is one thing. That's indecisive. It depends is different. And that's what INFPs do and INTPs as well. They're not indecisive on the metaphysical plane. They're quite decisive about it. They won't struggle to come up with words. They'll explain, well, it depends because A is meh, 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 and B is meh, 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 meh. Mentally, of course, using their minds. If you want to touch your mind with my tongue, you're gonna have to open your skull so I can lick upon your brain. If you want to touch your mind to my tongue, you're gonna have to open up your skull. Yes, I do think that SE is about impact, specifically influence. Yes, but mostly about disruption and impact. So it's like from any perspective, SE is disruptive. Until we start doing something, we can still talk about what we might do, right? And all the possible things we might do. And once we start doing something, then we're locked into a course of action. So, yeah, well, a lot of people say that, and it's interesting that Taylor would call it force. He's adopting an intuitive bias because that's where that expression comes from. Why did socionics think of SE as force? It's because from an intuitive perspective, that's exactly what it is. From an NE perspective, it forces the end of the deliberative process. And who's the author of all this MBTI shit ultimately? Well, originally it's INFJ Jung. But since then, it's been NTPs who've done all the real meaningful work with it. Socionics, me, and then it's STJs or NTJs who do the wrong work on it. Myers-Briggs, C.S. Joseph, So the thing is, we bring into this some intuitive bias. Regardless, it's intuitives who are doing all the meaningful work on it. And from an intuitive perspective, SE is forceful because it ends the ideational metaphysical part of things and turns it into a physical reality. And we don't like the way that SE can often short circuit what we consider an appropriate amount of ideational attention, So naturally, it's going to be perceived as force from an NE-NI perspective. However, from an SE perspective, it's simply impact, and it's also resetting the board. Once something's been done, now the metaphysical board has to get all reset, right? All the status quo has changed, so now we have to reset the board. Okay, so now based on these new assumptions, now that things have changed, let's and then kick the board again. Oh shit! Now it's a new status quo. That's what SE does. Is that going to seem like force to an intuitive? Absolutely. Is it correct to call it force? No. Impact oriented, correct. Disruptive, correct from an intuitive perspective. But it's not forceful. In other words, if I'm digging a hole in the ground, good SE is not using the most force, right? Good SE is successfully digging the hole in a way that is accounting of SI considerations. So, it's like these two things link, SE and SI link in the same way that NI and NE link. You can't do good NE without having good NI. You can't do good SE without having good SI. If I'm digging a hole in the backyard, if I'm doing it well and executing that task well, following through on the process, I've put on gloves so I don't get blisters. I've paced myself some. I'm putting a handle on it and pushing hard through, pow, 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 pow. But I'm not being stupid or inefficient in how I'm shoveling. So, that's the reality of SE. Is it force? It plays out like that a lot, but it's incorrect to say that that's implicitly a value of it. I mean, yeah, I think that it's absolutely appropriate to use type to you didn't embarrass yourself. You know, funny thing is, Chris Chapin, that quote you say right there, I could myself have put it in the live chat of the when that thing was premiering, because I basically told someone like, wow, that's a good guess, a good wrong guess, but it's still wrong, you know? Okay. And then my feelings about it afterwards are like, God damn it, Eric. And then I would just put that. That's what I would put as my next. If I had put something else, it would have been this. I'm sorry for taking myself so seriously and embarrassing myself, even though I'm right. I feel you, dog. Okay, baby. I'll see you in there in a minute.
Okay, I love you.
I love you too.
I love you.
I mean, that's certainly one position on it. Jeff Shaw asserts that, in fact, sadness and terror do cancel each other out. I think that's probably, I mean, that's a very TI perspective on FI. I'm pretty sure you can feel terrorized and sad at the same time. FI doesn't apply to FI isn't subject to TI rules like that. In other words, yeah, I do in general have good thumb independence on the guitar. For example, I can feel bittersweet emotions all the time. I often do. That's the thing about FI is it's not subject to those kind of binary definitional exclusivity relationships that TI things are. That's fundamentally the difference between two. I guess the currency of the two ecosystems, you know. Okay, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna go in and, you know, I'm going to, even though I'm not going to have sexual intercourse right now because a certain Aunt Flo is visiting Rachel, but there's more than one way to skin a cat, let's say, if you're familiar with the expression. So yeah. The stuff you say regarding typology we can divide it into: 1, taxonomy of instances of human attention, and 2, the model. That's correct, Stuart Johnson. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.